Nope. This is not clickbait. I have officially left my job as a software engineer. It's a thing I've been thinking about for a long time. There's a lot of thoughts and a lot of reasons why I've made this decision, and I know that it might sound like weird considering I'm a coding channel and I've now left my coding job, but I'll explain like everything, and I've organized this into like 3 life lessons that I learned that pushed me to make the decision, and I'll also talk about what is it that I am now doing instead. And also I moved. I live in a different country, a different city now. So we'll talk about all of that in this video. This is going to be slightly more like a chatty kind of video. So if you're looking for the kind of videos that I usually make, where it's like specific advice on how you can learn to code, all of that, this is probably not the video for you. But I think that nevertheless, some of the things that I talk about, some of the realizations that I've had now having this job might be really useful for you if you are yourself looking to maybe make the move to a career like that. So yeah, let's talk about it. That's a nice angle, actually. Okay, so I have some explaining to do, right? So let's get into it. But basically, coding is still the thing that I love. And no, I did not quit to be a YouTuber. In fact, going forward, despite of the fact that I'm not gonna have my job, I'm gonna be coding more than ever. And also, no, I did not quit because I hated my colleagues or because my boss was an idiot or anything like that. I have no hard feelings. So if you clicked on this video looking for drama or looking for me to like badmouth my employer, there's gonna be absolutely none of that. As far as jobs go, I actually really liked the job, but there's just some other reasons why it was simply time for me to leave and move on to the next thing, which is the thing that I'm doing now, other things. Anyway, I will explain. So getting into the first lesson, I know it's kind of funny that I've now left my job, considering that still, like, to this day, the most popular video on my channel is my video about how I got my job as a software engineer. But basically, what I realized is that as much as I love coding, there was just something about coding for a big company and coding as part of a big organization that really wasn't everything that I thought it was going to be. Because when you're coding for a big corporation, you're very siloed into a very specific part of the business. For example, if you're working for YouTube, you're literally like, you might work for 3 years in one team that simply works on like YouTube display ads, for example. Like the only thing you're working on is YouTube display ads. And when you think about coding and getting into software engineering, you're probably thinking about like, oh, I'm gonna work in these massive projects and I'm gonna like learn so much about like how YouTube works behind the scenes. But the reality of you being a software engineer for one of these big companies, especially as a junior, is that you have a very specific role doing a very specific thing, and you might have no idea about the big picture. So I just realized that for someone like me who's really interested in the big picture and like how everything works together and all of that, as much as you do learn a lot, I wasn't really learning the things that I'm interested in learning, if that makes sense. And it's the same thing about impact and value. Like one of the things I feel like we as humans value the most in the work that we do is like, we like to create value. We like to think that we're having an impact on the world or like creating something big that's going to benefit a lot of people. But again, this is another thing that I was very wrong about working for a big corporation, is that as a junior developer, like the impact you're having is not actually that big. Like basically, first of all, like you're completely replaceable. If I left the company like I did now, literally like a few days after I handed in my notice, they already had a different developer coming into our team that was like presumably going to like replace me. So like you're very replaceable because the thing you're doing as a junior are basically things that almost anyone who knows how to write code could do. So the value you're really creating is really minor. And even the value you do create, you don't really see it. You don't see the downstream impact that you're having. You're gonna create the software, the client is gonna take it and they're gonna go use it, and then you just move on to the next project. For some people, working as part of a big organization, doing something really big, even if you're a really small part of it, for some people that's awesome and interesting. And if that's you, then great. But I just realized that that really wasn't me. I'd rather create something smaller, but have a lot more control so that it's more interesting and I learn more about the entire process. Also that I can feel and see the impact more like down the line. And then another thing that people might say is like, well, you have this job that everyone wants, like shouldn't you be grateful and like all of that? But like really, like in a way I'm doing a disservice to like society by having this job that I really am not getting fulfillment from, when there are so many people who would love to have the job that I have, who would actually enjoy it and who would get fulfillment from it, and because they are really motivated about it, they would probably do it better, and as an aggregate, more value would be created. So in summary, the first lesson was that coding for a corporation is not what I was meant to do. But there was more to this. Besides the actual coding itself, I just realized, which is also what I've been realizing in literally every job I've done. I've worked in teaching, I've worked in consulting, I've worked in banking, but no matter which job I worked, I always felt this same thing where like it didn't really fit my personality to like have a job and to have a set schedule where someone else was telling me where I needed to be. The kind of life that I always wanted is a life where I can live wherever I want. I can do whatever I want at whatever hour of the day that I want. If I want to go to the gym at 11 a.m., I can do it. I don't need to ask someone's permission. If I want to jet off to Bali for a holiday for a week, I don't need to ask for someone's permission. This is the entire thing that I always dreamt about. But despite all of that, I'm not here to say that having a job, having a secure 9-to-5 job is a bad thing. Like actually, for most people, having a job is probably the thing that you should do, at least in the beginning. So actually, I wouldn't recommend most people do what I'm doing right now, because it's, unless you're a very specific type of person, having your own thing and like trying to build your own business, which is what I'm trying to do right now, probably isn't the right thing to do. It requires you to be the type of person who can motivate yourself to do something every single day, despite of how hard things might be. You need to do it yourself. And I feel like for a lot of people, for a lot of people's personality, they need to have like a daddy who like tell them what to do. So if you're thinking about whether you should get a job or go try your own thing, like the thing you really need to figure out is, do you prefer security or do you prefer freedom? I realized that 100% I prefer the freedom over the security. If I fail with business, fine. It's my responsibility and my fault. If I fail with a job, like probably it's my fault, but it might not be. It might just be that the business happens to do badly. Maybe they let you off because the economy is doing badly. I never wanted to have one single entity have this kind of power over me. What I would recommend for most people is having a job. Do get a job as a software developer if coding is the thing that you want to do. And if you want to be an entrepreneur, then on the side, you can be building something. Like 9 to 5, you work for a company, then from 5 to 9, you build your own app. But the second lesson I learned is that I don't dream of employment. People always talk about this concept of the dream job. And I thought to myself, and again in my previous videos, I was always like, I now have my dream job as a software developer. But this is another thing where I was really wrong. I don't have a dream job. I have a dream life, but any kind of employment is probably not gonna take me there. Okay, so obviously both of these two things that I've talked about so far were things that I was already realizing like much before I already left. So that the question is, why did I not leave earlier? Like if like after 2 months of my job, I already realized that, okay, this isn't really exactly what I wanted, and I already had my YouTube thing going, why did I not quit earlier? It was like a blocker in my mind that was preventing me from making this decision earlier. And the thing that got me through that was the third lesson that I learned. In my mind, because I'm very risk averse, and because my entire family, they all like work traditional jobs and they're all very like about security. For example, when I moved out of Finland to study in the UK in a university, my parents were all like, oh my God, like why are you moving to a different country? What if this, what if that? So I always had this background of like being secure, like having as much security. And despite the realizing like in my mind that I preferred the freedom over the security, that still wasn't enough to like convince my stupid brain to make the move earlier. Because I had this idea that going out there and doing my own thing was risky. What if my apps fail? What if I get cancelled on YouTube? And then like, what am I gonna do? But then there were two critical moments, like two critical realizations that sort of allowed me to get through this. The first was when I went on holiday. I remember I went to Switzerland and I went to Italy, and basically it was a week-long holiday. I took time off work, which is like such a hassle to like get holidays approved. I had to send like so many emails, get it approved by like this partner and this manager and all of that. Like first of all, the whole process of like I needed to ask this permission from all of these people just to take a holiday. It was like, this is not the kind of life that I'm about. And then during that holiday, I realized just how much mental space, just how much more mental energy I had now that I didn't have to think about work, didn't have to think about my morning stand-up, didn't have to think about the freaking colleagues that I was slacking with all day. And because I now had this contrast of having been in my job and now essentially being free for like a week, I realized just how much I preferred the freedom of like just working on making my videos, just working on my own projects. And that was the first thing that started getting me to the point like, okay, I need to figure out a way where I can do this full time, because I cannot have this like sort of chain on me at all times. And so the second thing that finally got me over the hump was like this one random night. I remember I was walking home from the gym. It was a cold, like dark evening. I was just walking and just randomly I just got the thought that let me just for the sake of argument, let me just think about what would be the worst possible thing that could happen if I make the move, or if I leave my job and go do my own thing. What's the worst possible thing that can happen? And I realized, as simple as this is gonna sound, if everything fails, I can literally just go get a job again. I can with my CV, with my skills of getting interviews, and with my skills in interviews, like trust me, I know how to get an interview to hire me. If everything fails, like I'm probably gonna have enough money to like survive at least for like 2 years. So if literally within 2 years, I never figure out a different business and I'm never able to start a new YouTube channel that grows, I never figure out anything, at the end of it, I can literally just get a job. Like, very simple, but for some reason my stupid mind wasn't realizing this earlier. So the third lesson I realized, that especially in my situation where I already have this YouTube business that is literally making more than enough money, like it's making like 5 times what my salary was anyway, it literally made no financial sense for me to keep having my job anyway, especially in this situation. Taking the risk of going out there and like trying to pursue my dream life and the thing that I actually want to do really wasn't a risk at all, because I knew that I always have the opportunity to just go back to the life that I had before if everything falls over. And that was finally the thing that made me realize that, damn, it actually makes no sense for me to stay in the job. And so here I am. So essentially the things that I'm doing right now is that this YouTube business that I have is like the cash flow business I have right now. So I have the YouTube AdSense, which I get from the ads that show up on these videos, like this one, for example. I have the affiliate. So for example, you know that I talk a lot about Zero to Mastery, which is like this course platform with like these amazing coding courses that I've myself been pretty much doing throughout my entire learning the code journey. I have an affiliate relationship with them where whenever someone signs up via my affiliate link, you get a 10% discount code if you use my discount code down below. Go check it out. A similar affiliate relationship with Coursera. Again, links to some popular courses down below. Go check them out. And obviously direct sponsorships that, you know, brands pay me directly to be featured in one of my videos, and then I make money from it. And then now I'm also selling my own courses, like my Python fundamentals course, which you can check out down below in the description. I just keep plugging everything now. So all of these things are how I'm making money right now to like support my life and to keep building wealth and all of that. And then the things that I'm mostly focused on for the future is building my own software. So first thing I'm building is like a personal finance dashboard. I always wanted to have a personal finance application that really does all the things that I wanted to do. So I'm building a prototype right now. I'm going to release it for some of you to test at some point. And then I want to build like other things. There's like a bunch of ideas I have. So ideally, the things that are going to make me a gazillionaire in the future are my apps and my software. And so lastly, where do I live right now? So my entire story of where I've lived is that I'm from Finland, and then I moved to university for London. I was in London for 3 years. Then I went back to Finland for a gap year, which is also when I started this YouTube channel. And then I got my job offer from London again. So a little later, I moved back to London for my job, which is where most of the videos that you've seen on this channel are from. And now I have actually moved to Dubai in the UAE. There's a bunch of reasons that I could make a whole another video on that topic of why Dubai. In short, amazing weather, it's really safe, it's really modern, really good value for money. Like I have this insane apartment, it's like so much cheaper than I would have been in London. So that is where I am living right now. And another thing I'm doing is I've started to make more videos on my vlog channel. So like my second channel that I have. So if you're interested in following my life like more intimately, I guess, and the whole process of me coding up my startups, you can subscribe to my second channel. Is called The Founder. I am so excited for what is coming up. I'll see you in the next week's upload.